class. So we've been discussing making connections this week, and yesterday we made connections from our home lives to our school lives, and we found that we all have rules, friends, and lunch, both at school and at home. Some of us made even more connections. Today we're going to learn how to make connections through literature. Does anybody have any idea on what those connections might be? Tyler?
It could be comparing a book to a different book.
Okay, perfect. So a book to another book. Trevor, do you have an idea?
Book to another, like something in real life.
Something in real life, yeah. So a book to real life. Anybody else have any ideas? Matt?
A book to something that I've done.
Something that you've done. So making a connection with yourself. Very good. You guys have just covered the 3 strategies that we're going to cover today. So I put these in 3 different categories. So a book to real life is going to be text to world, which means we're making a connection between what we are reading and the information about the world, something that we know about the world. And a book to self, text to self, is when we're making a connection between what we are reading and personal experiences that we've had. And then a book to a book is a text to text connection that we make from what we are reading to information we know from another text. So, I'm going to read you guys a story to show you how to make connections when you're reading. And when we're practicing, we're going to make connections before, during, and after reading. So I wrote this thing right here for you guys, this before, during, and after sign to remind you we made connections before, during, and after. Tyler, when do we make connections?
Before, during, and after.
Very good. So first, I'm going to look through the story that I'm going to read, which is called, it's The Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown by Charles M. Schulz. So I'm going to look at the title page, then I'm going to look at the pictures, and I'm going to think about what kind of connections I can make before reading. Somebody, yeah. Okay, anyways, welcome to class, Murph. So, I can make a connection to myself by looking at the pictures because I love Charlie Brown. Snoopy's my favorite character, but I love the Charlie Brown stories. And Snoopy's both silly and smart, kind of like me. So I made a connection to myself. I can also make a connection to another text. I know that Charlie Brown is sometimes sad and depressed at the beginning of stories, and then usually he's happy by the end. But I've read that in some other stories. So there I made a connection from this text to another text. And then I can make a connection to the world. And I know that this book has to do with Easter, because the word is right in the title. So I know a little bit about Easter. We celebrate Easter in my family, and we have ham, and we do Easter egg hunts and things like that. And I know that there's a lot of other people in the world that celebrate Easter too. So I just made connections when?
Before, during,
Before. I made connections before. So what's the next connection? What's the next time I'm going to make connections? Trevor? During. I'm going to make connections during the story. So let's read. It's The Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown. The winter snow has melted. Flowers were in bloom. The entire Peanuts gang was getting ready for Easter. Peppermint Patty was teaching her friend Marcy how to decorate Easter eggs. I got the eggs, sir, just like you asked, Marcy said. You get the eggs ready, and I'll mix up the colors, Peppermint Patty said. And please stop calling me sir. Arr. While Peppermint Patty was busy with the dyes, Marcy cooked the eggs. All the eggs are fried, sir. Now how do we color them, she asked. Peppermint Patty and Marcy weren't the only ones with Easter problems. Sally didn't see how she could celebrate without new shoes. Linus and Lucy needed eggs, baskets, and candy. Want to go to the store with us, Sally? Lucy asked. I told you it's a waste of time, Linus said. The Easter Beagle takes care of all that. "Linus, you drive me crazy," Lucy said. But Sally was curious. "Who's the Easter Beagle?" she asked. "Sally," Linus explained, "we don't need to go through all this trouble. On Easter Sunday, the Easter Beagle comes dancing along, passing out colored eggs to all the good little kids." Charlie Brown sighed. His sister had been fooled before by Linus's holiday heroes. "Come on, Sally. I thought you wanted to get some new shoes." So I just found a connection to another text. Linus had an idea in another text by Charles M. Schulz about the Great Pumpkin. So he had this idea that the Great Pumpkin would come during Halloween, and he would sit in the pumpkin patch and wait for the Great Pumpkin, and all the other kids were out trick-or-treating. But here he's talking about the Easter Beagle. Has anybody ever heard of an Easter Beagle before? I've heard of like an Easter bunny, and I think maybe this is another one of Linus's holiday ideas that most people don't follow by tradition. At the store, Charlie Brown, Sally, Linus, Lucy, and Snoopy met Peppermint Patty and Marcy. "Hi, Chuck. What are you up to?" "We're here to get some eggs for color for Easter," Peppermint Patty said. Marcy here fried the last batch." Then she whispered, "This kid doesn't quite get it, Chuck." "It's a waste of time to buy and color eggs," Linus said, "because the Easter Beagle will do all that." Peppermint Patty rolled her eyes. "Boy, Chuck, you sure have some strange friends. But come on, let's go buy some eggs. Easter Beagle indeed." Sally found a pair of blue, high-heeled shoes. She couldn't walk in them, but they sure were different. Snoopy found a hollow Easter egg. He looked inside and saw bunnies dancing. Snoopy imagined dancing with the bunnies. His feet felt as light as flower petals, and his heart was full of Easter joy. The bunnies applauded his happy dance. I love it when Snoopy does his happy dance. I can make a connection here to myself because sometimes when I finish my chores, when I finish doing homework, or when I get a good grade, I can break into a little happy dance. So do you see how I made a connection there to myself? Let's stop a few pages later. When all her eggs were colored, Lucy put them in a big basket and took them to the field where the Easter celebration would take place. Each time she hid an egg, she wrote down where she put it. Lucy couldn't wait for Easter Sunday. She was going to have the greatest Easter egg hunt ever. On Easter morning, Peppermint Patty and Marcy went to the field for their big party. Peppermint Patty apologized to her friend. "I'm sorry we don't have any Easter eggs, Marcy." "I'm the one who's sorry, sir," Marcy replied. "I guess I'm not that much of a cook." Peppermint Patty sighed. "I've seen this happen on holidays before. You look forward to being really happy, then something happens that spoils it all." So on this page, I can make a connection to the world because Lucy is doing an egg hunt, and I know that's a tradition that a lot of people do on Easter Sunday. But I noticed that it's a little bit different because she's hiding the eggs and she's writing down where she's putting the eggs, and then she's going to go and find the eggs. Usually in my family and a lot of other people's families, you'll have the adults hide the eggs and then the kids will go and find them. Okay, you can stop it again. Okay, now that we've finished reading, it's the Easter Beagle Charlie Brown. We're going to make 3 last connections. So, the first connection I'll make is that Marcy got frustrated while she was cooking the Easter eggs. And I can relate to that because I've gotten frustrated while cooking before too. But I keep trying, just like she did in the story, and eventually I've gotten better. And she got better in the book too. The connection I can make between the text and another text is that Charlie Brown didn't get any Easter eggs. And that was kind of sad, but I also remember when I read another book by Charles M. Schulz, another Charlie Brown story, he didn't get any Valentines. And I was really sad there too. So, he didn't get any Valentines, and he also didn't get any Easter eggs. So, the last connection I'm going to make is a connection to the world. And I noticed that the Easter Beagle sort of plays the role of the Easter Bunny. Because I've noticed the Easter Bunny, he goes to the mall every year and we can take pictures with him. And he's the one who hops around the neighborhood and he drops off Easter baskets to good little boys and girls. So those are the 3 connections, and I made them before, during, and after we read. So now we're going to move to another story, and we're going to practice together. So you guys are going to make some connections now. So you're going to make what connections?
Before,
Before, during,
and after.
And what are those connections?
Text to text.
Text to
and
self.
text the world.
All right, you guys got it. Okay, so we're going to read A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving by Charles M. Schulz. And before we read, I'd like each of you to make a connection by looking at the pictures and the title page. So, I guess hand out these worksheets, take one and pass it down. You guys got a writing utensil?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll let you get your name on your paper. You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna flip through the pages of this story. Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. And you guys wanna make one connection. So you can make a connection to self, text, or the world while we're looking, but you have to make one connection before reading.